everyone. This video discussion is going to be on the matter of claiming dependents. For tax purposes, there are two types of dependents. One, qualifying child or qualifying children, and two, a qualifying relative. There are specific tests that have to be met to claim each type of dependent. I will read from the list that's in front of me what those tests are and what they mean. For a qualifying child, 4 tests have to be met. There is the relationship test, the age test, the residence test, and the support test. Now, for the relationship test, the individual has to be your child, stepchild, foster child, adopted child, brother or sister, or a descendant of one of these. For the residence test, the person would have had to live with you in the same house for more than half the year. More than half the year can be 6 months and 1 day. More than half the year can be 6 months and 1 week. But it has to be more than half the year. As for the age test, the person must be under the age of 19 at the end of the year, or under the age of 24 and be a full-time student for at least 5 months out of the year. Or the person can be any age if they are totally and permanently disabled. As for the support test, the person that you're wanting to claim as a qualifying child cannot have had supported themselves more than 50%. So again, there's 4 tests that have to be met when claiming a qualifying child. And again, that's the relationship test, the residence test, the age and support test. Now let's talk about qualifying relatives. To claim a person as a qualifying relative, there are 6 tests that have to be met. And those tests are as follows: not a qualifying child, gross income, total support, relationship, joint return, and citizenship. Not a qualifying child means that the dependent cannot be a qualifying child of another taxpayer. The gross income test means that the person you're wanting to claim as a qualifying relative would have had to earn less than the exemption amount for the year. For tax year 2011, the exemption amount was $3,700. For tax year 2012, the exemption amount was $3,800. So in order to claim a person as a qualifying relative, this is one of the tests that had to be met. They would have had to make or earn less than either $3,700 for tax year 2011 or $3,800 for tax year 2012. Total support test. That means that you provided more than half of the support for that person during the year in order to qualify, in order to claim them as a qualifying relative. Relationship test. You have to be related to that person in certain ways. Joint return. This means that if the person you're wanting to claim as a qualifying relative is married, they cannot file a joint return with their spouse. And then there is the citizenship test. The dependent must be a citizen or resident alien of the US, Canada, or Mexico. Again, for qualifying child or children, there are 4 tests that have to be met. And for qualifying relatives, there are 6 tests that have to be met. For more information relating to these dependent types, you can visit the IRS website at www.irs.gov. Or you can visit my website at www.audiotaxhelp.com. That's AUDIOTAXHELP.com. Please let me mention that spouses are never considered dependents. You can take a personal exemption for a spouse if you file married filing jointly, but spouses are never dependents. Personal exemption amounts and dependent amounts are the same, but the IRS has different rules for both. Again, a personal exemption is an exemption that you can take for yourself or your spouse or your spouse. And a dependent is either going to be a qualifying child or a qualifying relative. Both personal exemptions and dependent exemptions reduce your taxable income. Again, for more information regarding qualifying child and qualifying relative dependents, visit the IRS website or audiotaxhelp.com. I thank you for listening.